Last night, the Alabama Senate passed a bill essentially banning abortion in the state with no exceptions for rape or incest. The bill now goes to the Republican governor, who has not yet said whether she will sign it. If she does, it would become the strictest abortion law in the country. There, no surprise, was immediate backlash, especially from 2020 Democratic contenders. Beto O'Rourke called it a radical attack. Elizabeth Warren assured voters, "We will fight this and we will win." Bernie Sanders called on the governor to veto the bill. And our next guest says it is time to fight like hell. She will begin that fight at a roundtable in Georgia tomorrow, a state that passed its own abortion law last week, banning abortion at 6 weeks of pregnancy. New York Senator and presidential candidate Kirsten Gillibrand joins me now. Senator, what is your immediate reaction to the bill, and what is your plan to do something about it?
Well, this is an outrage, and it's nothing short of an attack on women's basic human rights and civil rights. And it's something that women of America are going to have to fight against with everything they've got.
You can hold these discussions or these roundtables, but what specific action can you take, and who will be at the roundtable? Because President Trump was somewhat wishy-washy about abortion for years. And when he was running for president, and when he realized being anti-abortion was a winning position for him, he went full-blown. So when you sit down with those people on a roundtable, who are they? There are actually a lot of people in this country that support this bill.
I'm sitting down with women in Georgia to talk about their views, their values, their faith, and what they care about. And the truth is, we need to lift up their voices. We need to lift up the voices of women and families across America who see their civil rights and human rights being taken away from them, being decided by legislators and who know nothing about their lives, their health, and their ability. And I'm telling you, this is something that is so harmful to women's ability to get basic, safe access to legal abortion. And it's something that women may need in their lifetime, and it's something that we should actually protect.
Is there any chance, you believe, of convincing the governor of Alabama to veto this, like Bernie Sanders has suggested? We know that all of this anti-abortion push, the ultimate goal is to get to the Supreme Court steps to potentially overturn Roe versus Wade. Is there any convincing, or are you doing anything to try to convince the Alabama governor, who is a woman, to think about this as a women's health issue?
It is a women's health issue, and the Alabama law is the most severe law that's been passed to date. In fact, it will put a doctor in jail for 99 years for meeting the needs of women's health. It criminalizes abortion even in instances of incest and rape, and it will basically make it impossible for women to seek the reproductive care that they need when they need it. This is not something the American people support. 70% of Americans want safe, legal abortion to be available to women when they need it. They believe in women's civil rights and human rights, and they believe that those healthcare decisions, those most intimate and difficult healthcare decisions, should be made by a woman, her family, and her doctor.
Last week you said if you were named president of the United States, any judge you would look to appoint to the Supreme Court would be one who would want to uphold Roe versus Wade. You said that last week. Given what we've seen this week, specifically in Alabama, has that become even more important to you?
It's more important and more urgent. We used to believe in precedent in this country, but under President Trump, he is trying to upend the entire court system, appointing radical judges like Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, justices who intend to overturn a decided precedent that the United States and people of this country support. They want these intimate healthcare decisions, life and death decisions, Stephanie, to be made by the women that are most impacted. And if you look at issues of maternal mortality in this country, we have the highest maternal mortality rate of any industrialized country. And if you are a black woman in this country, your likelihood of dying in childbirth or within a year of giving birth because of institutional racism is 4 times higher. In some cities like New York City, it's 12 times higher.
Maternal mortality, just talking about it gives me the chills. I want to talk other 2020 news. Montana Governor Steve Bullock has entered the race with his big platform saying he's a blue guy who's won in a red state. This has pushed an idea that the center is now going to dominate this election. If that is the case, how do you plan to compete with more moderate candidates?
Well, I have a very strong record, and one that's different than everybody. Not only did I win a 2-1 Republican red House district twice, the second time by 24 points, but I've never lost those counties since, and in fact, I've earned higher vote thresholds since. I have the highest vote threshold in the history of New York State at 72%. That's higher than President Obama earned or Hillary Clinton, and I just won back 18 of the counties that voted for Trump in my last election. So not only do I win red and purple, but I'm for bold progressive ideas, and I actually get things done. In the last Congress alone, with the Republican House, Senate, and President, I passed 18 bills. Common sense things like money for rural broadband or for small businesses. And so I can pass big bills like Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal, being at the forefront of gay rights in this country, or the 9/11 health bill, standing up for our first responders when they needed a voice and someone to fight for them. And so my record is really different because I do actually fight for the progressive values that our party shares: women's rights, gay rights, clean air, clean water, but I actually get things done on those areas. And I think that's unique to me.
You've made the argument with me before that you plan to fight, if elected, for the entire country, every American. Recently, Elizabeth Warren turned down an invitation to participate in a town hall on Fox News. You are going to be holding one on the network 2.5 weeks from now. Why did you accept, and what did you think of her response?
My belief is that President of the United States needs to represent everyone, and I'm going to ask every voter for their vote, regardless of where they live, whether they're in a red state or a purple state or a blue state. And I believe you need to meet voters where they are, and a lot of America happens to watch that network. So I would like to do a town hall so I can speak to all Americans about their values, their views, their priorities, and where I stand, and what my vision for this country is, and my experience to actually realize that vision. Whether it's healthcare, whether it's education or jobs, I have a record of actually bringing people together and getting things done.
Senator Gillibrand, thank you so much for joining me. And President Trump, I think Senator Gillibrand just said you should probably come on TV with me. You're always welcome.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.